Welcome back, Deadites and Ghost Beaters. Today we're going to talk about one thing that is absolutely critical to the lifespan of a game, especially an asymmetrical PvP game, and that is perception. And perception is built off of multiple things. We're going to break down what those things are, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But if you like this Evil Dead or Dead by Daylight content, please drop a like and a comment on the video below. Smash that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for all Evil Dead and horror related content. And if you're looking for people to play with in either game, or just talk about horror or movies, TV shows, click on that link below. There's our Discord. We have a thriving horror based community. Now, one of the things that games nowadays have to go with is based on what is up against them. And as we all know, Dead by Daylight has become the king of the asym universe. It is what everything kind of rotates around. They've kind of set a standard that now all asym players come to expect, and if you don't hit that, it dwindles your player base. And that is a problem that Evil Dead is already starting to experience, and this is the part that kind of scares me, because one of the things we need to go on is hype. Hype is the first component of a game, and it started out with a really poor, underdeveloped marketing scheme to get the game out there. A lot of people still don't know what Evil Dead the game is, let alone that it's an asymmetrical PvP game. And that has always been one of the big problems with the game coming out of the gate. When you have stuff where people don't know what's coming, they still don't even know what the season pass is, it tempers expectations, it tempers excitement. And that is the exact opposite of what you want. So, for example, the only thing we knew coming since the game has launched was the release of a update for Army of Darkness, which was really just the actual last map from what was supposed to be available for launch. Each of the three killers were supposed to have their own map. Obviously, Evil Ash did not come with his. It was added as the Army of Darkness patch because it wasn't completed at launch. And that's all we've been looking forward to. We don't know if there's a prestige system. We don't know what's in the season pass we all bought. We don't know if there's a skin store coming or S-Mart, however they want to phrase it. We don't know really anything. We just collect spirit points and we sit on them. While on the other hand, there's been so much buzz in the Dead by Daylight universe for the last few chapters that I can barely keep up with what to report on, whether it's chapter 25's Project W DBD combining again with Resident Evil, whether it's the redo the entire prestige system and a bunch of perks from chapter 24.5, the return possibly of Stranger Things. They're just news coming upon news coming upon news coming. And that is the thing that keeps fans excited. Like if I log on to Dead by Daylight and I decide I want to start stockpiling blood points, I know I'm doing it so I can just max the shit out of Wesker coming out of the gate. But if I log on to Evil Dead, I don't really know what I'm putting my spirit points away for. Like, is there a reason to? Is there something coming that I really want to grind for? And that leads to point 2. One of the biggest things you need to do as an asymmetrical PvP game, or as a live service game in general, is you must respect your player base's time. Right now, they're not doing that. Dead by Daylight took a huge step forward to respecting the player base time by creating a brand new prestige system that goes all the way to 100 on every character. That means there's always something to do. They have rituals, they have tomes, there's challenges that can be done to not only earn more currency, but to also level your account, buy new characters, level characters up, spread perks amongst your characters. Like, there's a lot to do, so every match you play in Dead by Daylight feels like you're going to get something out of it. Whether it's a great reward or a little one, it's still there. They're giving away blood points on check-ins, or they give away blood points as codes, or they give away charms. Like, they're respecting the player base's time by giving them something in return. You're playing this game that's 6 years old. Why are you playing it? Because it's that giant quote of "with 'em, what's in it for me?" And there is always that part of a live service game. The problem is, Evil Dead the game is not giving us that. And the only thing we know so far from the first dev stream is that there's really no plans for a prestige system. So if that is one of those things you can do that's a very easy bake-in to create a way to reward time and complete that grind, because it's not like there's gear to go for or anything like a looter would contain. You need something that rewards the time of the player base. And that's not it. So there's another excitement deflator because players don't feel like their time is being respected once they've maxed their entire account out. The third thing that's a problem right now with creating excitement is nothing wrong with Epic Games, but like it can't be your main player base, and that's a huge problem. that right now we don't even know when the game is coming to Steam for Evil Dead the game. And it creates this problem where you don't even know how the game's performing, and that could always lurk in the back of your mind. As long as I can remember, we've always used Steam as the basis of what a lively player base looks like. Is there a lot of players? Is there not a lot of players? Is it a ghost town? What is it? We don't get that option with Epic, where we can look at the stats and say, X amount of players played last month. The game's doing great. It might not have a lot of buzz outside the initial community, but the community's thriving. We can't do that. We can do that with Dead by Daylight. We cannot do that with Evil Dead. And typically when you choose the option to go with Epic Games as your source, like Tiny Tina's Wonderland did, you're there for 6 months minimum before you can spread out. It could even be a year, because it depends on what the contract is. We haven't heard anything once again from Saber on that. The silence that Saber does is absolutely deafening and terrifying if you are an Evil Dead enthusiast like myself. Like, to be honest, if it weren't for Bruce Campbell creating excitement at Comic-Con, I don't know if there would be any buzz around the game right now at all. So one thing I will show you is we're going to do a live hop over right now to Twitch. It's the only way I can look at a game and see what kind of excitements that we're going to see how many people are watching Dead by Daylight right now versus how many people are watching Evil Dead the game. And that could say a lot about the state of the game and the state of the excitement at the moment. All right, here we are. We're at Twitch. As you can see, this is me, Old Head Gaming, when I used to do a lot of Twitch streaming, and I don't really do it anymore. And first we're going to use Dead by Daylight as the marker. So obviously Otz is on right now and he's got 9,000 viewers in his own right. But how many people are actually watching Dead by Daylight right now? And the answer is here. 58.2 thousand viewers. That is at this very time in the middle of a Sunday afternoon on watching Dead by Daylight. Now, even with Otz having 9K, that's a lot of freaking viewers that are watching Dead by Daylight without watching Otz. Let's see what's going on with Evil Dead the game. And let's see, Evil Dead the game right now has 195 viewers. 192 just as I clicked over, and the top person is Caddy TV with 68 viewers, or Kittier with 59. That is almost all the entire player base with 2 people. And that is a problem. If people aren't watching it on Twitch, people aren't playing on Steam, people aren't hearing about it out and about, it's a bad sign for a game. And it's not that the game is dying. I'm not saying that. I don't think the game is at any kind of premature death. But I think the game is showing that they are not winning the media war. And I think the problem is because they're not exciting their player base. And that is something you see with games like Dead by Daylight versus Evil Dead. And if you're not excited, you're not as inclined to play. And if you're not as inclined to play, you're not as inclined to recommend it to your friends or try to get game nights together with your friends or even want to talk about it. Because right now, there is a definite perception problem right now with Evil Dead, the game that Dead by Daylight does not have. Listen, Dead by Daylight will always kind of be its own little shit show. And that's who Dead by Daylight is. But it's always a shit show that is generating a metric crunk ton of conversation across the internet and amongst its player base. Apparently, Evil Dead is not saw what Dead by Daylight is and try to move that as part of their own business model. And right now, every time they have an opportunity to talk about something, it's more even the end of the second dev stream, where they did give us some information about Kandar that was dropping the next day, when they had an opportunity to talk, they said, we can't talk about anything else. See you at the next dev stream, which is who knows when. And those types of things just deflate excitement of the player base or other prospective players in the first right. So what happens is, if you have a game like Evil Dead or Dead by Daylight and you're new to the ASIM world, you're going to go to Dead by Daylight just because you hear about it. You see what's going on. You see Resident Evil. You know that they just remodeled everything. You know you can pretty much endlessly play and grind and grind and grind and be rewarded. And Evil Dead is missing on all of those fronts right now. And so once you have your account where you have all 3 demons at 45 and all 13 survivors at 25, there is literally nothing to do but play the same matches over again and stockpile spirit points. Now, if that's your bag, knock yourself out. That's awesome. You're just a grind monster that's fine grinding with no sense of a finish line. I am not that player, and I know, unfortunately, most are not. And so I still play Evil Dead all the time, and I love it. but I want some purpose. It's just one of those things right now that Saber does not want to take something out of that page of the playbook by behavior for Evil Dead, the game itself, and they're going to need to do so soon because we're starting to head into month 3, and it's really been quiet on the Western Front. And at some point, you're going to have to start generating excitement beyond Bruce Campbell trying to pump the game up at Comic-Con, because Bruce is doing a great job covering things, talking about Evil Dead Rise, talking about Evil Dead the game, talking about future crossovers. Like, Bruce Campbell generates hype. Bruce Campbell is an amazing hype man. But Saber is doing everything in their power right now to keep everything as hush as possible and deflating the entire community. And that's something that has to change, and has to change quick if there's going to be any kind of longevity in this game. As always, thanks for watching, and later, mates.